crazy, go crazy, go crazy, no crazy, no crazy, no crazy, I'm Weekly Shonen, and today I'd love to talk to you about One Piece chapter 1163. This is my first upload in about a year, just a little bit over a year, so pardon me while I shake off the rust. I was gonna wait to kind of do a soft relaunch of the channel, you know, have like a whole channel trailer, have a bunch of stuff prepared, but I feel like I've missed out on so much. I mean, I've missed the finale of Egghead, the start of Elbaf, Loki, we've got One Piece is not political discussions happening for some fucking reason, and now we have Garp slander, which I think that was the straw that broke the camel's back for me, damn near. Just getting to the end of God Valley here, I'm like, all right, I need to come back and say something. If you do not care to hear the excuse as to why I haven't been uploading, you can skip to this timestamp here. But if you have been wondering where I've been, the answer is in between jobs. I lost my job about a year ago. Yeah, a little less than a year ago at this point. Luckily, I found a new one, but that one fucking sucked. I had to be like on call 24/7 for work. So there was no life, and whatever life I had left was spent rolling up some smokable herbs and playing some games and trying to forget work, because that's how stressful it was. So we're back. Unfortunately, I am unemployed once again, but I'm in such a better headspace now that I feel more comfortable to upload. And I know I've said this before, but we will be going through all the past streams, like all the Zelda streams, uploading highlights. I was trying to like, you know, go through all of them and upload like 10-minute videos of them, but it's just so many hours that I might just like clip them as I go and then just make them into shorts and then maybe just put those shorts into one video eventually. But as for right now, just, you know, bear with me. I'm still getting my feet back on the ground here, you know. Anyway, let's jump into it. There's no new cover story, which is good. I think we all need to wash the taste of the Yamato's pilgrimage out of our mouths. I just hope the next story we get is either wholly unrelated to the canon or completely related to the canon, like the one before Yamato's. Like, this is one of those times where I will not put this on fan expectations being way too high. Even if you incorporate Moria's surname to this, like that could have just been an SBS. Like this whole cover story was like the definition of this could have been an email. And I think we have a visitor actually. All right, I was gonna save this for later, but it's been so long since I've uploaded that I have ferrets now, and this is one of them. This is Dr. Bippy. He's a cardiovascular surgeon. Say hi, Bippy boy. Hi. He's very focused on things that are on my desk. All right, I'm gonna put you down now, buddy. I don't know, the entirety of this cover story, knowing that we only got like Moria's surname out of this, just feels like Oda is out of touch with what the fans want. Either that or just really loves Yamato, because the only reason to put 2 years worth of Yamato cover story is if you really think the fans wanted more. So yeah, this chapter picks up where we left off last chapter, which is just Imu taking hold of Saturn. And at this point, I'm convinced that Imu's just a black goop. That's what Imu is. It's not a silhouette thing. It's not Oda being whack and not giving us a face reveal. That's just how Imu looks, because you can see like from the neck and then later on with the regeneration, like it just seems like it's just slop going on there. And that's really confusing because obviously Imu's first introduction was a legitimate figure, what looked like some type of serpent with like a tail. And then we also had the Gorosei who were silhouetted. So it's a little confusing. And at this point, if Imu does have a face reveal, then it just feels, the silhouette here at God Valley just feels really cheap. Yeah, anyway, Imu goes on to indiscriminately kill some fodder. I believe Oda's either trying to tell us something about being wounded by Imu in order to justify the end of this chapter or explain how the next level of Conqueror's Haki is going to work or something like that. Or he's setting up these fodder to just become Domi Reversi. Like that could just be the whole thing behind this compelling word that we get here. I initially had this as something that is either going to come into play in the next couple of chapters or something that the Viz translation will clear up. But by the end of the chapter, you know, rereading and just listening to some of the other reactions on here, it seems like this is just Oda's justification for it. The next section takes us just a couple of feet away from this location to where Garp is. People gave Garp a lot of shit during this flashback, so much so that I almost came out of retirement just to defend him. And I'm glad we saw him attack Imu in this chapter, because if they left this panel simmering for like a week, I guarantee you people on Reddit would have been like, Garp is gonna attack rocks. I have a theory that Garp is actually going to attack somebody else that is not Imu, and I'm just glad that I didn't have to watch that happen. But unfortunately, what I fear is that people are still not satisfied with Garp. And I, for one, can't stand you people. if you exist. I mean, we see Garp disgusted at what's going on last chapter. We had an argument from Harold earlier in the flashback on why the Marines are a net positive for the world, and we even see Garp straight up attack Emu, even though he's like already claimed to be a net positive. Yet people will still focus on the fact that Garp is in the Marines in present day, even though he and Oda in some way have both clarified that Garp's just trying to be a net positive Marine who has nothing to do with working directly under the world government. And if he turns out to be the leader of Sword, then, you know, what else would you really need at that point? Because he'd be directly and consistently working against that world government in order to be that net positive. It's like people are seeing Garp in the present and getting upset that he hasn't quit the Marines in the past, when that's clearly the route that's set for Dragon here. I don't know. I think you guys are thinking ass backwards here, which is why. All right, did we get the clip for the short here? For the you know, they do like the infinite loop thing. It's Chop, come here, buddy. Okay, this is my other ferret. So you've met Dr. Bippy. This is Chop Cheese. In other words, Chopper. Yes, relation to Tony. And he's doing his best. Okay, Chippy Chopper, I see you both are awake now. Are you guys gonna play with each other, or did he already go back to sleep? Look at the cute boy. Love these guys. Okay, yeah, so I have to write at least like one short for Loop at this point because it seems like that's how YouTube works. Okay, so the next scene here is just Rox and Emu having a chat. And I love this scene, but I'm somewhat conflicted on the latter half. Because the fact that Rox gets his rematch is great. Love that for him. The upscale is real. But there are 3 lines here that we need Viz to clarify. The first being the compelling line from earlier. So not part of this scene, but kind of part of in this area. The second is the Davy Jones mistake. I know it's been 10 years, but Rox clearly said he was a follower of Davy Jones. So, you know, does Emu think he really is Davy Jones? Like, how bad is his memory? Is this like a hockey thing where he doesn't really see people or names or color, and he's super duper progressive? All he sees is their hockey and what their aura reminds him of, or them of. Either way, I need this clarified as soon as possible. Or, you know, is this just another example of the world government's incompetence? You know, is this just Oda telling us like, these guys may be at the top of the world, but they're not that smart? Like, I'm hoping it's not a mistake, because then I really don't like it and it kind of soils a little bit of this conversation. But the back and forth overall is great. I love it. We also get the title of the chapter here, which I don't know if that's coming from Emu or Rox, but for the life of me, I'm not even gonna begin to ponder on like what promise Davy Jones or Emu have made, because unless he's Joy Boy, then I don't know, how would Rox be embodying Joy Boy's one known promise? Or like, how would why the fuck do I care about a promise made from either of these two people at this point in the story, you know? I'll leave that for some theorists to figure out, and then I'll watch the video, I'll like it, I'll probably comment on it, and maybe refer to it next week. I think the best part of this back and forth though is the next line, which is the mention of the Rat King himself, J.D. Garcia Saturn. I think everyone in the One Piece community felt a disturbance in the force when Jay responded to this or reacted to this chapter. Between my stream and then writing the script for this video, I've seen his reaction to it, but I just knew he was gonna go crazy over it, so I'm happy for him. I actually met him outside of Anime NYC this year, which is a great run-in. Really nice guy. The mention of the Rat King here isn't just memes. Like, this could be a huge hint at Emu's identity. A Rat King, which I will not be putting a real picture of on screen here, is a rare yet very real natural phenomenon, as confirmed in 2021, where rats, normally young ones who live in close proximity to one another, accidentally get their tails knotted up, become unable to move, and die shortly after. For Rox to call Emu a Rat King here should mean that he doesn't think Emu is one person. And with the way Emu calls themselves Mu, literally removing the I from their name, I could be convinced. Now, whether this means Emu's non-silhouetted form is some abomination of mangled beings, or a hint at what happens when you use the special abilities of the Opi Opi no Mi too many times, it's still unclear to me. I mean, it could be both for all I know. Something I found interesting though was this one diagram of the Rat King, which depicts an image that's very similar to the symbols of Alabasta and Wano. If Oda wants to hit us with a curveball at the last second, he could just say that both of these kingdoms were trying to warn the world of the Rat King, or the origins of this power that Emu usurped and bastardized. Like, maybe Emu won in the past, but was cursed to look or move a certain way for always in eternity. Finally, I can't help but note the way that the Rat King dies. Because separation is impossible, it becomes unable to move, thus killing it through starvation. Now, what's happening in Marijwa currently? Famine. Since Dragon hasn't even seen Emu yet, I can't assume he's doing this out of knowledge of Emu's potential condition. However, if the revolutionaries have a good understanding of House Nerona, then maybe it's possible they found out through other means. Or maybe this is just one of those lucky streaks, right? Like the fact that the Celestial Dragons ended up occupying a land where the Davy clan was, right? As for this Moo's World is incomplete line, I'm not gonna even try to crack my head on it because I can only really think of one thing that could complete Emu, which is Vivi. Like, Luffy's fruit just seems like their last obstacle, so I can't count that in. And the Mother Flame just seems like a power source for the ancient weapon, so I won't look at that either. But maybe it's like just some Orochimaru shit going on, you know? More importantly, Captain John is a big eater. Congratulations. Welcome to the club. Unfortunately, he's still a bum, which means it's gotta be the fruit. I felt like this man's stocks were in jeopardy the second we saw his metal arm. And if you saw my stream, his metal arm was an example that I could have used to document Oda's perfectly fine retcons. Anyway, that's a video for another day. I'm just upset that his one big moment is just upstaged by the literal flick of a finger that I now learned through watching people's streams is a fucking booger fruit. I mean, I'm still interested in seeing how he gets away with like a vast amount of treasure from this island. I just really don't like the fact that he's one shot by Ganzui here. Booger or not. Like, I mean, yes, I guess the lower tier Rocks pirates can all be seen as equals, and he clearly let his guard down here, but you know, I don't know. It just feels weird that Captain John is taken out with one hit by the guy who was like kicked in the face by Marco's doppelganger last chapter. I don't know. We'll see. There's just too much going on in a moment that's supposed to be like a highlight for John here. We've got billion-dollar chests, we've got very important artifacts. All of it is either dispersed, taken by Ganzui, or taken by the Roger Pirates. So again, I ask, how is John's treasure legendary exactly? You know, would it just be all of his stocked up loot from the entire pirate? Like, is this just all his loot from his entire pirate career, his entire career with the Rocks Pirates? And if so, like, why even highlight him here if he's not gonna get anything important? I got it. Here's the only way it works out to me as of right now. Ganzui goes after Shiki, but Shiki reacts in time to take him out, which is why we get that panel. John somehow slips away, and then he's able to swap out or just drag some of the Roger Pirates loot with him. In the process, the chest that Shanks is in gets switched out for one of the chests on Roger's crew, gets switched out for one of the chests that Roger's crew ends up with. So, you know, maybe he gets those valuable items in the long run, but, you know, he's more focused on quantity than quality here. So all the billions of berries that he has were just stockpiled from his previous adventures or his adventures with the Rocks Pirates so far, and then all of his artifacts from God Valley are these special artifacts that people are talking about. And maybe a couple of devil fruits, hopefully. Because at least that way you can explain why his God Valley pull was very important to both the story and his legacy. But you can still give most of the treasure of God Valley away to different people. There, I fixed it. What's funny to me is that Dragon ended up just being a fraud after all. You're telling me that we finally get to see Dragon do something in this series, which is saving Shanks. And he doesn't even get to do that all the way. It's like you got him 80% of the way there and somehow got caught with substitution jutsu. And then at the end of it, he's not even responsible for putting Shanks in the chest itself. Like, Shanks just did that himself? Okay. I don't know. It's like the most crucial part of the rescue mission is the completion of the rescue mission. So he sees the Marine ship and he's about to get there. And then you can't even credit him with it. I just don't see why Oda couldn't get Shanks on the ship with Dragon's help and then just somehow switch out the box after, you know? It's like we were this close to giving Dragon a W, a legitimate W. And that's it. Now we don't have anything but his backstory and like what, saving Kuma? Like, I don't even want to give him credit for that because we know Kuma's a tank. We know that even if he got shot in the back of the fucking head, he probably would walk out perfectly fine. All right, that's so deep. But you know what I'm saying? Like, the only thing Dragon gets out of this flashback at this point is his motivation for starting the revolutionaries. And then we come to the grand finale of this chapter. The final section of this chapter was somewhat infuriating because I can deal with everything before because it can be connected in due time or it can be corrected in due time. What I can't get jiggy with is this bullshit right here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 top tiers, potentially 6 of the top 10 of all time, and all of them are landing their own named, with one poorly named, attack. Like, this is 6 of the top 10 of all time, 6 of the 7 top tiers of this generation. Oh shit, babe, am I loud? Okay, the boys were waking up their mother by scratching on the bed, so here's your last little look at them together. Say hi to YouTube, my boys. Aww. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so Emu gets hit with 6 top tier hockey like named attacks and they're unfazed. Like, I don't understand. And people have already been complaining about the fact that we don't really get legitimate fights anymore. We're just getting clashes. So for this to be one page, which is cool, it's a dope looking page, But for this to be one single clash with all 6 of these people, and for that one big old move to do absolutely nothing in the end, like, it's just, it feels so cheap. Like, obviously it's gonna go hard in the anime, but like right now, not looking too good. Like, I'm less caring about the fact that Imu regenerates immediately, because at least we know we get a ton of haki that's expended to do so. My problem is the fact that we don't even get to see Imu struggle here, right? Like, we saw Garling like hurt, you know, regenerated, but upset and hurt. Like, there's no sign of weakness or even like acknowledgement of damage here, which is really annoying. It's just like on with the regeneration, and then boom, Domi Reversi. Spoilers. And this next one's gonna sound like a nitpick because we've given Oda a lot of leeway in terms of being inconsistent with Conqueror's haki, but you literally just showed everyone displaying it. So why is there none when Rox is literally trying to stop Imu from going after his family here? To top it all off, we got Rox being Domi Reversi'd. How? He's clearly against it, right? It feels like at this point we're just turning people over through the sake of plot convenience. Like, I'm almost convinced that Domi Reversi was introduced for explaining how we got rid of Rox. Like, I caught legitimate flashbacks this chapter of Naruto when Kaguya popped into existence. I'm pretty sure other people, I wouldn't even be surprised if like people caught anxiety attacks thinking of like Naruto dispersing chakra to like 100,000 people for hours on end. Like, it just feels like the final war is just going to be Imu Reversi'd army versus a gang of Nikas. Because that's really what it's looking like at this point. And I don't think anyone's going to have, you know, a fun time with that. And I've been thinking like, hey, whatever gaps are here, you know, in terms of Loki's memory are probably being filled out by Gaban. And that's why somehow, some way, Loki's flashback is mentioning all of this here. But you see Gaban in this chapter, and he's gonna have the key to defeating this thing. Maybe just he knows off the fact that, you know, King's haki, or maybe he sees Roger later on in this flashback disperse, you know, an immense amount of haki, and that's how he learns how to deal with the regeneration ability. But it's not like he's gonna know how to undo Domi Reversi. At least I don't think so. So like when we get back to the present, like they're gonna have to figure that out by themselves. Either that or it's still going to go unknown and the crew's just gonna get very lucky, still suffer a defeat, but it won't be as bad as it could be because, you know, Imu has to leave or whatever. Or God forbid Gunko's mask comes off and like makes eye contact with Brook and boom, now we've been cleared. Like it's gonna be, the climax of this flashback arc is both giving a weird vibe for the flashback itself, but also for the ending of Elbaf, because we're gonna have to deal with the same shit in like 4 chapters, you know? Like we either need Oda to show us that Imu's much weaker than they used to be, or through possessing Gunko instead of Saturn, cannot work with their full abilities, or Vegapunk has to discover something crazy in that lab, right? Because they're not beating Imu with top tier haki and swords. Is it like, is Shanks gonna come through? Is Shanks gonna flex so hard that it drives Imu away? Like, I don't know how you beat this thing, which I guess is the point, but like, this isn't a fun mystery. I think that's the problem. It's like, we're not waiting enthusiastically, like, you know, to see how the gang beats this. This is more so like, this is bullshit, bro. It doesn't feel like it's gonna be a good explanation anyway. It's gonna feel like an ass pull or like some, you know, some Deus Ex Machina thing. The only thing I can think of in this series at this moment, which, well, 2 things, but the first one is so fucking boring, but the first one is Luffy's fruit, right? Just Luffy himself being immune from Domi Reversi, which is not fun. It would still make sense because it's Joy Boy, but like, it's just not nearly as fun. The only thing aside from that could be fun is Blackbeard's fruit, right? Maybe that's the reason he wants the fruit. Maybe that's the reason why Rox wanted the fruit. Maybe there's something with the Yami Yami no Mi that negates or makes one immune to the Domi Reversi. Although I'm gonna be extra pissed if it just makes one more susceptible to it. Or maybe the Yami Yami no Mi was not a fruit until Rox's death. Maybe the 2 fruits that Rox was looking for, one of them wasn't even the Yami Yami. Because, you know, why would Blackbeard be searching for it his whole life? Like, is this something, you know, is the Devil Fruit Encyclopedia just something that, you know, he had through, you know, through the means of being on Whitebeard's ship? Or, you know, did he discover this himself after God Valley? Or is the fruit itself something that he saw manifest in front of him in this flashback and he just couldn't get it? You know, he knew he wanted it the same way that Luffy wanted his brother's fruit. He was like, oh, this fruit came out of my dad when he died or something like that, so I need it. It feels so cheap that the strongest part of this era doesn't even have enough haki to resist Emu. Like this is really disappointing. I know I'm not the only one who's disappointed, and I know that, like, you know, with the compelling thing here, like if you get stabbed by Emu, like if you get your arm shot off by Emu, there's precedent here for like the turnover, right? There's space here to properly explain it. It just doesn't feel like whatever explanation we're gonna get is going to be fun. It feels like it's just gonna be a cheap ability anyway. And just I don't like broken abilities normally. It's just, yeah, Emu's going down the pathway of like a Yuha Bach here, and I'm not the only one who said that, but it just feels that type of cheap. Obviously, you know, the final villain's ability should not be able to just be outclassed by haki itself, but it also shouldn't be so broken that it can just turn whoever you want, you know? And if like the determining factor here ends up being like, you just don't get stabbed, don't get hit by him, like come on, that's, you kidding me? You're gonna ask for the final fight for someone to go flawless? I've also seen people pass out the theory that you can Domi Reversi someone on their homeland, which seems stupid, but apparently that's, you know, like return to home is what Domi Reversi stands for or means. But that does not feel fun. That just feels, again, plot convenient. Like, if nothing else, I'm begging you, Oda, I don't want to see Rocks talk shit like Dory and Brogy in this Domi Reversi form. I want him to be like, at the best, like Jubito, just silent, having an internal battle. You could see the struggle on his face. It's really sad. And, you know, I understand that we're making all of these bad people, you know, I guess the word would be redeemable. I don't mind that with Rocks. I'm still not going to see him as a good person. I'm still going to see him as a neutral at best, but I would like to see him go out tragic, not sad. If he's just like mindless like Dory and Brogy and like talking all this shit, then it feels like a complete reversal of his character. Whereas if he's struggling internally and like you can see like the pain on his face still, and he's just stoic or whatever, or like not stoic, but he's like silent, but you could see all the pain, like him trying to resist inside. And at least that works. And at least, you know, the interactions that he has with, you know, Roger and Whitebeard and all the other people around here, it doesn't cheapen his death. Because if he's here just like flying around like a bat and he's like, ha 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 ha, where are these Davies? Like, come on, bro. Like, this is, you introduced us to this character. You teased him years ago. You finally give him to us, have a great introduction, a great backstory, and then on top of like all these, you know, these combat feats, you're going to give him a family and then somewhat redeem him just to have him go out like in the most comical villain way possible. Like, that's stupid. Like, just please, like, have the other 5 people in the vicinity move in a way or interact with Rocks in a way that saves his dignity. But yeah, just some final thoughts on this. I hate this route, but I will wait to judge Oda here. However, at this moment, I'm a little more than a little concerned. I'm not saying there's no saving the flashback or like the flashback is ruined, because it's still debatably the best flashback in the series. I'm just saying I would be severely disappointed if, you know, we get all of this with Rocks and his ending is just falls flat because of this. And don't get me wrong, I'm still looking forward to a lot of other things during the climax of this flashback, like, you know, Roger's Haki Bloom, seeing how Kaido turns out to think that, you know, all pirates are backstabbers. We got big news Morgan's here. We've got Garp's final decision, you know, after, you know, dealing with this, how he gets out alive, you know, and becomes the hero of the Marines somehow. We've got, you know, we could potentially see Dragon starting the revolutionaries here, or just having the thought for it. We still have Herald, who plays a part in all of this, both past and present, or slightly lesser past. There's still a lot to be done here, basically. So, you know, even, I don't know, if Rocks goes out terribly, but the rest of the stuff is fire, like, will I still love this flashback? I don't know. And that's a scary thought. I don't want to think about not loving this flashback, because I've been super duper fan all the way throughout it. So if it ends up, you know, falling flat at the tail end of it, like, I don't know, like even Harold coming back here feels like, dude, you better pull some wild shit. This better not be like you not appearing in God Valley whatsoever and then trying to make amends for it, you know, in the throne room scene. Like, if Harold doesn't come back, it's kind of whack. And even if, like, there's so many ways that this can be saved, but there's so many other ways that this can go wrong either way, right? Like, if everything else is fine, but Morgan's pops up at the tail end of this just to see, you know, Garp and Roger clashing with Rocks, and the entirety of God Valley's like story or history that, you know, Sengoku then relays to people is like based off Morgan's late arrival. That's kind of whack, truthfully. And if that's how Morgan's, you know, gets put into the spotlight as this, you know, big reputable news source or whatever, then it's pretty whack. Especially if, you know, his introduction here is, I'm not gonna do what the world government tells me. I'm gonna write my own story. And then his first big story ends up being exactly what the world government wants him to say. Anyway, yeah, that's it for me. If the boys were still out, this is where I would have introduced them, but you know, obviously they came to say hi a little bit earlier, so you got to see them. But yeah, I forgot how to end these things, actually. I don't know how to say signing off or whatever. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you made it this far, awesome. I'm glad you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed. Yeah, that's it for me. Have a good one. See you soon. Bye.